Discipline is often misunderstood. People imagine it as something harsh, something cold, something that steals joy from life. But the truth is much simpler. Discipline is what happens when your motivation runs out, when your natural excitement isn't enough, and when the gap between what you want and what you're doing begins to widen. Discipline is the bridge that carries you over that gap. It's the extra energy that doesn't come from inspiration, but from decision. It's the extra step that is taken not because it feels good, but because it's necessary. Everyone has the ability to practice discipline. It's not reserved for the superhuman or the gifted. But many people don't use it because discipline doesn't always feel like a part of their identity. It feels like something heavy, something restrictive. People look at discipline like it's punishment. You can't eat whatever you want. You can't do whatever you want. You can't indulge every impulse. And at first glance, that seems like suffering. But nobody suffers more than the person who lives without self-control, without boundaries, without structure, without rules. That person has chaos as their daily companion. Think about it. What do you get in life without discipline? Do you build a strong body without it? Do you create financial stability without it? Do you develop skill, intelligence, confidence, or peace without it? You already know the answer. Progress is tied to discipline. Improvement is tied to discipline. Anything worth having in life demands discipline. Discipline is not an accident. It's a regimen. It's a choice. And that choice often forces you to look at what you're willing to sacrifice, what you're willing to give up in order to unlock your potential. Some people are willing to give up very little, and so they gain very little. Others choose to give up comfort, ease, and old habits because they want to discover who they can become. There is a road between the vision you hold in your mind and the reality you hold in your hands. That road is discipline. Every step on that road is earned, not given. Discipline means pressing forward despite difficulty, despite delay, despite distractions, despite doubters, despite criticism, despite the voices inside you and around you telling you to stop. It's the ability to keep moving toward what you believe in even when the moment feels inconvenient or painful. A disciplined person doesn't rely on feeling good. A disciplined person does what needs to be done, even if they hate the process. In a strange way, that's what discipline is, doing what you hate as if you love it. There are 3 major points you need to understand about discipline. If you take these 3 things seriously, you can accomplish almost anything. The first is simply get enough sleep and plan your day the night before. You cannot operate with discipline if your brain is tired. You cannot hold yourself to high standards when you're exhausted. And you cannot be consistent if you wake up every day without a plan. Sleep resets your mind, your focus, your emotional balance, and your physical ability to work. Without proper sleep, everything else becomes harder. Sleep is not a luxury. Sleep is part of the system that allows you to be mentally sharp, emotionally stable, physically capable, and motivated throughout the day. If you want to improve your mood, your focus, your discipline, and your overall well-being, you have to take sleep seriously. The quality of your night is shaped by what you do during your day. A good night of sleep begins the moment you wake up. Most people don't realize they are functioning below their potential simply because they aren't sleeping long enough or deeply enough. When you're underslept, you're not thinking clearly. Your memory is weaker. Your immune system is compromised. Your discipline drops. You become irritable. You overact. You procrastinate more easily. How much sleep is enough? It varies from person to person, but the simplest answer is this. Enough sleep means waking up without an alarm and feeling rested. When you feel fully restored, that's your number. The second major idea is time blocking. Not on-to-do lists, not scattered goals, not trying to multitask your way through the morning. Time blocking means carving your day into intentional periods of focus. Especially in the morning when your mind is at its sharpest. Many people wake up and immediately get pulled into messages, social media, news, or chaos. Then they wonder why the rest of the day feels unproductive. Start your morning with natural light, hydrate, move your body a little, and most importantly, avoid distractions. Don't dive into social media or email. Give your brain space to lock into a task. Some people find that early mornings are when their mind is clearest. Others discover that their best work happens later. You don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. You don't have to follow someone else's routine. But you do need to understand your own rhythm. Think of your day as having 3 opportunity blocks: the morning block and the evening block. Most people can perform well in only 2 of these. Trying to be at your best for all 3 often leads to burnout. Pay attention to which blocks feel natural and productive for you, and build your day around that rhythm. If you exercise early in the morning, for example, you might notice increased energy for the rest of the day. But if you exercise too late in the morning, you might find yourself dragging through the afternoon. These patterns are personal. You have to observe your mind and your body. Discipline requires self-awareness. You have to know when you're sharp. You have to know when you're slow. You have to know when you should push and when you should recharge. Time blocking is not just about scheduling. It's about understanding your own nature and using it wisely. The last major piece is emotional maturity. Emotional maturity is what allows discipline to survive on the days when things don't go perfectly. Motivation is fragile. It disappears the moment life gets inconvenient. Emotional maturity, however, is stable. It's what keeps you moving even when circumstances aren't ideal. An emotionally immature person relies on feeling good before taking action. They need inspiration. They need energy, they need ideal conditions. If they slept poorly, they stop. If it's cold outside, they stop. If they're upset, they stop. But an emotionally mature person understands that feelings are not commands. Feelings come and go, but purpose remains. Emotional maturity means doing what you said you would do even if your mood disagrees. Your emotions influence your motion. When you're emotionally immature, your emotions dictate everything. When you're emotionally mature, you recognize emotions as signals, not instructions. And you learn to choose discipline even when the environment is suboptimal. Doing hard things literally strengthens your brain. There is a structure in the brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. Scientists are discovering that this area grows when you repeatedly do things you don't want to do. The more you push into discomfort, the more this part of your brain develops. It's not just the seat of willpower. Some researchers believe it's connected to the will to live, the internal drive that keeps people moving forward even when circumstances are brutal. But here's the catch. This area only grows when you do things that are hard specifically for you. If you love cold water and you sit in an ice bath, that does nothing for this brain region. But if you hate the cold and you get into the water anyway, your brain adapts, it becomes stronger. Your will becomes stronger. I don't want to do this, but I'm doing it anyway. Moments are what reshape the mind. This is what many high-performing people live by. Not because they were born strong, but because they built strength through repetition. Discipline is something you grow. Determination is something you build. And the more you practice pushing through discomfort, the more capable you become. Life will push you. You will struggle. You will sweat. You will be afraid. You will be tired. You will be discouraged. But discipline means moving forward anyway. Moving forward when things suck. Not because life is unfair, but because discomfort is part of the process. Not everything is adversity. Some things simply suck, and discipline means pushing through them. When most people quit, they disguise it. They say their leg hurt. They say they didn't sleep. They say the timing was off. They don't say, I quit. They say, I couldn't continue because of this reason. But underneath most excuses is the truth. They stopped because they chose to stop. Excuses might make you feel better for a moment, but they take everything from you. They rob you of growth, of potential, of success, of fulfillment. When you finally remove the excuses, you're left with a painful truth. The outcomes of your life are mostly your responsibility, and that realization is uncomfortable. It's also powerful, because if the problem is you, then the solution can also be you. Some people develop an unbreakable will. You see this in individuals who survive extreme circumstances, people in military training, people who endure imprisonment, people who endure loss, people who face hardship that most of us will never know. They keep going not because they're the strongest or the smartest, but because they refuse to quit. They make a decision that no matter what happens, they will continue. If you have even a small spark of that will, you can grow it. You can ignite it. Discipline is built the same way a muscle is built, through repeated stress and recovery, through doing things that challenge you, through choosing discomfort over ease, through consistently refusing to quit. Life will place you in the woods sometimes, lost, confused, unsure, scared, uncertain about what comes next. Maybe your relationship ends, maybe your job ends, maybe your environment collapses. Maybe everything familiar disappears. When you're lost in the woods, standing still will not save you. You have to start walking. You have to move forward even if you don't know the direction yet. Because movement creates new perspective. Movement creates new opportunities. And even if you walk the wrong way, you can always turn around. But doing nothing guarantees you stay lost. Challenges can be reframed. A difficult project can be seen as a chance to build a stronger team. A personal hardship can be seen as a chance to grow. A painful setback can be seen as a lesson that strengthens your character. When you frame things correctly, the obstacles in your life become stepping stones instead of traps. And the moment you take responsibility for your life, you gain control over your destiny. You gain control over your future. You gain control over the person you're becoming. And that is a powerful, liberating feeling. Discipline is not the removal of comfort from your life. It is the path to freedom, freedom from chaos, freedom from regret, freedom from living beneath your potential, freedom from being controlled by moods, impulses, and excuses, freedom to build the life you want, the body you want, the mind you want, and the future you want. You don't need to be special. You don't need to be gifted. You don't need to be born with exceptional willpower. You need to start. You need to practice. You need to do the hard things even when they're uncomfortable. You need to train your mind just like you train your body. And you need to remember that discipline is not the enemy. It is the vehicle that carries you from where you are to where you want to be.